Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. I'm Rob Howse, and I'm going to talk to you about how we've been trying to tame the complexity of our organization. But before we get into that, let me give you just a little bit on my background. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Leeds Building Society and one of the executive directors on the board there. I've been at Leeds for over 2.5 years now. Before that, I spent a decade in a variety of senior technology and transformation roles at Lloyds Banking Group and the Royal Bank of Scotland. But where my professional focus is, where I'm really excited, is that over the last 10 years has not just been on changing banks, but changing how we change banks. And in the process, hopefully changing banks a little bit, the banking industry a little bit for the better too. So let me bring up the slides and then let's start. So why should you care about this talk? Well, when I speak to leaders who are looking to change the way they deliver transformation in their organization, I find a lot of them are like this. They've read all the books. They've maybe got the latest version of the DevOps handbook. They may have watched the Henrik Nyberg videos. They're enthusiastic to start. But then when they look at the case studies, they can't see their organizations in those case studies. They maybe don't have the scale or the technical depth of some of those large poster childs of the agile world, the sort of the capital ones, and they certainly don't look like a software heavy startup. They sit maybe somewhere in the middle. They're large enough to have a huge amount of complexity and variety in what they're trying to do, but they just don't have the team size to be able to sort of apply maybe some of the techniques, the classic techniques of DevOps. And if this is you, if this sort of describes maybe your organization, then I hope our recent journey at Leeds Building Society could help you. So let me introduce you to Leeds Building Society. We're one of the largest of the UK's building societies, which for those of you who haven't heard of a building society, think of us a bit like a bank, but owned by our customers, our members, as we call them. In our case, 800,000 of them across the whole of the UK. And our purpose in sort of serving them is to put home ownership within reach of more people, generation after generation. It's something that we've been doing for over 100, or nearly 150 years now, which means that we're entirely focused on mortgages and savings. And we look after over £20 billion worth of money. As a business, we're financially successful, we're highly profitable with market-leading cost and capital ratios. But most importantly, we're proud of what we offer our members. We regularly win awards for our mortgages, and we're also proud of our internal culture. And we were absolutely delighted that earlier this year, we were crowned the best financial services company to work for in the UK. So you may be wondering, if the business is so successful, where is the challenge? And it is a great question, because back in 2019, many of those things were still true. But strategically, we faced a number of issues. Margins in our core mortgage market were compressing quickly, threatening our profitability. We were also faced with increasing unhappiness from our mortgage brokers with our systems. They just didn't like them. They were old, they were clunky. And these independent businesses, these independent brokers, sell the vast majority of our mortgages for us. And on the saving side, our digital offering was woeful. And finally, if you looked at our technology, our core systems, our infrastructure, it was nowhere near as resilient or fit for the future as we needed it to be. So a transformation of the business, it was clear, needed to happen if we were going to sustain our success. And it was going to need to be a sort of technology-heavy transformation. And therein lay the problem. Because while Leeds Building Society was good at many things, we haven't been very good at delivering technology-based change. Back in 2019, a portfolio status report would look a lot like a rail departure board in the middle of a rail strike. Everything seemed to take a long time or was cancelled or delayed. Small changes, which could be as simple as a field change on a core system, took around 6 months. There was a lot of activity, but not much delivery. And finding a successful project was a little like trying to find a ticket to the World Cup final. You knew there was one out there, but you really struggled to get hold of it. And when you look at the root causes, well, I'm sure they're familiar to many of you who've been on your own DevOps journey. There was largely one delivery method, and that was a heavily gated waterfall one. The organization seemed to like turning everything into large projects. The delivery teams were functionally siloed, a team of business analysts, a team of software engineers, a team of testers, a vendor team. Work moved from one silo to the next, coordinated by project managers. And we had more project managers than we had testers. And then there was the fact that no one seemed to say no. Almost every business case got approved, and the business case listed in great detail all the minutiae of the resources that they needed, 0.2 of an FTE of this skill and 0.3 of an FTE of that skill. And so as every project got approved and rushed to start, they went off to find all their 0.2 of an FTE of this and that. And as you can imagine, context switching was rife across the organization. So in short, this was an organization that was crying out for a large dose of the DevOps medicine. But before we could take that medicine, the messy reality of our business hit us. Because this wasn't an organization with a lot of similar in-house software development, where we'd be able to start rolling out a sort of standard Scrum approach or thinking how we could maybe apply SAFe across the whole organization. We had a huge variety in the nature of the work, from a system